going from Genesis through to the Ascension, we're going to miss out some stuff. So what I'll try to do is I'm just going to try to hit on the important stuff. Maybe you'll get really excited and want to go read the whole thing and get some more stuff. It's also nice too. I've heard some people talk about, last week and the week before, and it's like people are starting to say things like, wow, didn't ever know that. That's great. And it's fine and dandy and wonderful if you admit that. You cannot know everything in the Bible because this book, although this is paper, the words in here are alive. They are changing for you because you change. The message was always the same, but depending on what you're going through in your life, you've just had a new baby, you've had a close member of your family die, something like that. When you open up the book, things will speak to you in a different light. And we really encourage you, and remember I told you last time, if you need a Bible, we'll get you a Bible. Okay? Use a marker to go through it. Mark it. Make notes. Yes, this is a holy book, but it shouldn't sit on the shelf untouched. Which is what many people do. Like, oh, I'm not going to touch it. The more marked up it is, the better it is. And don't go through your Bible when you're reading with one of those black magic markers covering up the stuff that you don't like. Okay? Oh, I don't like that part. I just cover that up. It should be a highlighter of things going, don't know if I really like this, but okay, it's coming from God. I'll listen. Okay? Use it. So we're going to take a look at the flood. Let's see what we have to do about the flood today. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. Those of you who have been around for a while, if you remember, a while back I did a series on the truth of the Bible. A lot of people say it's a book full of fairy tales. Just recently, there has been research done that says this thing here, the 120 years, right here, this is in fact what the great scientists have come to a conclusion is, this is probably as long as we are going to ever live. Now with improved medicine, improved eating, and this type of thing, in the future, and not the too distant future, you can expect to live to about 120 years. Well, the improved brain would really help, yes. But you notice here, though, the Bible, how long ago it was written, and they're telling you right here, I'm going to let you live to 120 years. And the scientists have finally got around to agreeing with God. Pretty good of them, eh? The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of human and had children by them, they were the heroes of old, men of renown. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here. We could take one book of Genesis and make numerous messages out of this. But this is where I encourage you to go read the Bible and come back to me sometime and say, Pastor Dave, I was reading something and I don't get this. Can we talk about this? Okay? It doesn't mean, if I could live to 120, I'd never be able to get all the topics covered. So, there they are. Noah and the family. Remember what we talked about last week? The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that very inclination of the thoughts of the human hearts was only evil all the time. I love this next line. very vivid memory. I think about things, and when I see this, the Lord regretted that he made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. I can just picture God going, oh man. It sounded like a good idea at the time. I told them just don't do one thing, but now they're running wild and doing all kinds of stuff. Because we haven't dealt here yet. There's other major sections of the book missing, such as Cain and Abel. There's very important stuff here, because after the first sin, everything goes downhill rapidly. We already saw that as soon as the first sin happened, we saw shame and guilt. Right away. We got to get those fig leaves and cover ourselves up. Then next, we have envy, jealousy, pride, and murder. All in short order, all in Genesis 2. Like, as soon as you break the one big rule, everything falls apart. Now let's think, here's a little test. Remember the first message? What was the key word? Okay, that's good. People are listening good. And you notice too, there is no repeat of that. I made the heavens and the earth, it was good. I did the animals, it was good. I did the plants, it was good. I did the people. Okay, so we have God regretting this. So the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, quick guess before we go to the next slide. Do you know why Noah and his family got a break? That's fine if you don't, that's fine, that's fine. Because the family was, very important word in the Bible, and in our lives starts with an R. Righteous. Excellent, okay, they were righteous. This is very, very important. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Why is it important that Noah is righteous? There's only the people in the ark to repopulate the earth. There's a very important person coming. Who's coming? Jesus. Jesus is sinless. He's pure. So we need to have a lineage, a line that we can trace back and have Jesus as sinless. So God comes along and he wipes out everybody. Now again, let's see how many people were listening last week. With the animals. How many animals did he take on the boat?
More than 2.
Okay, 2 and 14, that's it. Okay, remember guys. And this is the problem. And sometimes you're going to hear me come in, you know, sometime maybe next year and go like, we're going to talk about the flood. I know about the flood. Pastor Dave's already preached about the flood. Give it a break. But do we know about it? Have we read it? Or have we studied it? It's interesting. And in fact, if you go and read it, I had somebody come up to me and say, that was cool. I went and looked it up myself. I thought, yes! Somebody went and looked it up. And that's what I want. If you're like, oh, Pastor Dave, what are you doing? You're off the wall. Where are you getting these things? Go look it up. Gotcha. Okay, good stuff. You went and read it. 2 animals, one of each sex, if they are unclean, for example, a male and a female pig. 14, 7 males, 7 females if they be clean, like a cow. Makes perfectly good sense. If, and I doubt it would happen, but if the boat sank or ran into a rock or something, you would want more of the clean animals to survive than the unclean. And again, clean is really key. When we start looking in a little while, sacrifices. Any of you have read things like in Leviticus, they stress that you sacrifice a goat or a lamb, but it has to be unblemished. It has to be clean and perfect, just like Jesus. And that's where we're going to start getting into this. When we start talking about sacrifice, and they talk about the sacrifice of a lamb, okay, as soon as you hear the sacrifice of a lamb, ding, a light should be going off in your head saying, whoa, that's actually talking about Jesus. Jesus is all the way through the Old Testament, whether you realize it or not. He's there. And this is one of the reasons why we're doing this. It's not, as I said, and I'm going to say it again, it's not the old guy with the big beard sitting on the cloud in the Old Testament and the blonde-haired blue guy that only speaks English in the New Testament. These things are fluid. They go backward and forth. There is no beginning and end of these things. It's an ongoing story. I'm going to bring floodwaters on the earth and to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has the breath of life in it, everything on the earth will perish. Okay. And he does. He wipes it out. But again, we don't have the whole story here. Very interesting. He makes a rainbow. There's a rainbow that he makes. God makes a rainbow that says, this is my promise to you, that I will never do this again. I'm not going to flood you out again. He's giving people another chance to get their act together. Just like us, when we make mistakes, we can go to him and say, I'm sorry, will you forgive me? If you are sincere and honest. Okay? So the whole story of Noah is really quite a fascinating story. And again, there's more to it than this. So I'd like you to take a look in the Bible, if you haven't got a Bible, and read more about this and see what the story is. There's whole things in there about, and there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions people ask. Seekers and doubters, how can you get all those animals in the boat? There's comedians who make, jokes about this, like, did you ever see what's in the bottom of that boat? Okay? How do you determine? And it can be explained quite simply. So if you want to sit down and have a discussion with more in depth with this, if you'd like to have another message on this sometime in the future, we can go into this. This is supposed to whet your appetite. Okay? So here's your discussion questions for today. If God, for I regret that I made them. Okay, that was a quote. Why did he give people a second chance? The first time out, he seemed to be really kind of upset with Adam and Eve. Okay, but here he's giving them a second chance. As long as you're one of the ones that made it onto the boat, you're getting a second chance. The other ones didn't. As Christians, we believe the Bible is fact. What is your personal opinion about the Noah story? And again, guys, I want you to be honest about this. You can sit there with your table facilitator, and you can sit there and say, I have been a Christian for 25 years, but I don't buy this story. It's packing all these animals in this boat. Why? Where's the stumbling block? Can we help you understand more? That's the whole purpose of these discussion groups, is to be able to freely express your ideas. What is the importance of the Noah story for us and for Christians and for people? I'm going to just mention something here too. I can't mention this enough. When we read, and I'm going to use my wife as an example. Okay, last night she just told me instead of sitting down and trying to read 5 chapters of Matthew, for example, at a time, she's going to sit down and read one. Just one, and she's going to go through it very carefully, reading all the stuff and putting it in here and studying. If we don't study, we can go off and get things wrong. When I was teaching, I used to give the kids a test. Okay? And one of the questions on the test, and if you're reading this, it's very easy to get this wrong. Almost everybody gets it wrong. On the test, the question said, how many animals of each species did Moses take on the ark with him? Now, you see, when I say it, you often pick it up. But the trouble is when you read it, people just read right over. They see animals, ark, how many? They miss the question that it wasn't Moses, it was Noah. They bang down number 2. I come around and go, no, that's wrong. Just go like, what do you mean? I know that's right. No, it's wrong. Even with something as simple as that, and I used to tell the kids, this is a test of reading. If you read this carefully, you will not get the questions wrong. But if you don't read the questions carefully, you will get them wrong. Your Bible is very important. Read it carefully. Have a great week. Next week, we're going to do a really interesting story in the C2C series. We're doing Abraham and the sacrifice of his son. Have a great week, guys. God bless.